voice system to support data. An example. Your phone at home is made for voice, but you can go and buy a 56K modem, put it in your computer, and then use the same line for your data communication. The same thing happened in these cellular systems. They initially were designed for voice, but then you can buy a small modem, you hook it to your mobile, and then mobile can do data. But طبعا it was doing data at very small rates. Because the original rates that are made for voice are also small. Yani, voice is doing what, 13 kilobits per second? So the best GSM phone will do 13 kilobits per second if it was doing pure GSM. So you cannot get more than that. So that's why I said they started as voice-oriented. Now, when they design the future system or the systems that we are working with, voice is only a minor fraction of the revenue. It's not the main thing. So we cannot optimize the system for voice. We have to optimize it for what brings us more money, data. So now systems are being optimized for data. My interest is that my system supports more megabits per second. Those voice users I'll be able to handle with very few capacity, because voice doesn't need a lot of capacity. But the data requires a lot of capacity, especially if you're using what applications are we using? What? YouTube. Or internet television, multimedia. All these things are huge. They have huge demand of capacity. Voice is very nice when it comes to capacity. The other applications are more requiring. Okay? And that's why the capacity issue becomes very important. So let's look at the systems. Initially there was 1G, first generation. They called it actually 1G. This was in the 70s when Bell Labs designed their first phone. It was analog. And it was using FDMAs, as we said. And it was using FM, by the way. FM meaning if you actually have your FM radio beside it, you could listen to the call. That's what people used to do. They used to get FM radios and listen to them. Because it was pure FM in the open. And if you remember, at least because I'm a bit older than you, I used to listen to phone calls on the FM radio. Those phone calls used to be في السيارة كده box كبير, and they have a battery that you keep charging overnight, and then you use the phone which was this big, and you call your friend and you feel very happy that you're calling on a mobile. But it was using regular FM. And these things could be intercepted easily on regular FM radios. Now this was the first generation because everything was analog. Now the second generation came in the 80s and 90s. And as I said, now we have bits. With bits you can store them, you can scramble them, you can protect them, you can do lots of things. And the most famous second generation system is the GSM, which we use right now. Most of all, I think all of us have phones that are GSM compatible first. Then we worry about the other additions. They have to support GSM first. GSM is the bread and butter for voice service in everywhere almost. طبعا GSM is a European-made standard. In North America, they always like to be a bit different, so they have their own also standards. But even GSM is getting popular there. The GSM is the first one here, is the, as I said, the European standard, but we have other ones here, CDMA1 and DMs. These were made mainly for Japan and North America. But this is all second generation. We still use it, by the way. It's the widest network covering the Saudi Arabia and all the continents. Now people started thinking, no, data is very important. I should provide higher rates. What should I do? Let's invent something called 2.5G and 2.75G. We cannot go all the way to 3G. Let's take it incrementally. So we started modifying the GSM and producing systems like GPRS, Edge, and these things. And they provide bit rates up to maybe 270 kilobits per second, which is not bad. 270 kilobits per second. If you are alone in the whole area, you will get that. Okay? Not many people will get it. Only one. Yeah. So you can get high bit rates, but there is, because the system is not originally designed for data, there is a lot of resources being booked for you, and it will cost you a lot and all these things. Now, in the 90s, people started thinking, no, we should start really thinking about designing a completely brand new system that supports data at high bit rates. Not only that, the systems must also support this multimedia, new thing that is coming up. Now, I will I will be talking to my friend over a presentation, and he will say, okay, why don't you call Fulani Fulani? Then I will press a key, and I will be talking to you on the presentation and making a voice call. So there are simultaneous calls happening, multimedia, everything, you name it. And they called this 3G. Okay? And there was also a requirement that this 3G system here must support 307 kilobits per second. That's the maximum rate they were thinking of at that time. If you are moving. If you are indoors and you are in your apartment sitting, not moving, we'll give you up to 2 megabits per second. Okay? That's what the rates they were thinking of. And this 3G, we have this UMTS, which is also, we have in our phones. The phone you have, when you go back home, read the specs. It says GSM, it says UMTS also. And there are flavors also of UMTS, so the multiple versions. So, these 2G and 3G is what we have right now. In North America, as we said, they have their own also version. They call it CDMA 2000 or XEVDO. And they provide roughly the same capabilities. This one provides hundreds of kilobits per second. This one also provides hundreds of kilobits per second. Now, after that, people again pushed for more bandwidth. They want more bits per second. Then we started going into 3.5G, 3.75G. Now everybody hears about this Connect, 7.2 Connect advertisement. Yeah, it's based on something called high-speed packet access. It's a flavor of UMTS. The system is modified to give you high megabits per second. But you get this only if you are the only one in the cell. Some people are around you, then you share this. Okay? There are these things that came with the 3.5 and 3.7. LTE is one of them. While these things, by the way, are now being deployed in the kingdom, these things are now being deployed. I will go into that in detail. Another competitor that appeared on the market, which is called WiMAX. WiMAX is different. WiMAX is not designed for voice. All these systems that I've been describing before are designed for voice, and then the data was added later. WiMAX is different. WiMAX is supposed to replace your DSL. So it is a mechanism to give you internet connectivity, high bit rates, to whatever place you are in. It's not designed to give you voice initially. Okay? So and its coverage is huge. We're talking about cells that are 50 kilometers in range, as I will describe. And then we will talk a little bit about 4G, which is what they are thinking now. 4G now is being drawn. It's not completely done. 5G is just in research papers. Nobody knows what's going to be 5G. 5G, if they are going to start standardizing it, it's going to start in the 2020s. And maybe take another 10 years until it's done. So we're talking about the next 20 to 30 years. This is a graph which shows the systems, the years, and their capability. And the years here is the standardization. This is not deployment. For example, RTE can give me up to 100 megabits per second on the downlink. You can see these bit rates are not for voice. These bit rates are for data. And the uplink is 50 megabits per second. LTE, by the way, now is being tested in Saudi Arabia. The companies, as we will see, are contacting providers like Motorola, like Huawei, to test these systems in Saudi Arabia. But the service is not yet available. Now, why are people interested in this? Because people, especially companies, they are after their revenue. This is a forecast of how many customers will be using broadband wireless. Broadband wireless is these high bit rates of data. You can see here, in 2012, they expect that over 1 billion person will be using this service. This is like what, 1/6 of the world?